Federal government has ordered a full-scale investigation into the viral video alleging negligence by staff at the emergency unit of Federal Medical Center Jabi, Abuja, where accident victims were reportedly abandoned. One staff member in the video blamed the inaction on the lack of gloves, resuscitation tools, and patient transfer equipment. However, the hospital has denied the claim. A preliminary internal review indicates that the facility was adequately stocked with medical consumables and patient transfer tools, including trolley and wheelchairs. Minister of State for Health and Social Welfare, Dr. Isiaq Adekunle Salako, has ordered a thorough probe, assuring that the findings will be made public. Hospital spokesman Obadiah Ghana stated that FMC Jabi maintains an open door policy with multiple feedback channels, including QR codes and medical indigent funds to support vulnerable patients. Ghana also highlighted the hospital's reputation as a hub for complex medical procedures like kidney transplant, spine and heart surgeries, and laser operations. The management apologized for any distress caused by the incident, affirming its commitment to empathy-driven quality health care delivery. Well, the hospital I don't know if you got to see this viral video, accident victims were left abandoned, really. And due to public outcry, the hospital spokesman has come to say, oh, we are on top of our game.
Expectedly.
What are your thoughts on this report?
Expectedly. My thought again.
Oh, I need your thoughts on it.
I wish it could take a break, honestly. But you see, what are you expecting from the hospital management? It's one thing to say, oh, we have everywhere stocked. And it's also possible that they have somewhere stocked. But how accessible are those stock to those that need them? Let me give you a personal experience recently, not with the government, a private business organization. I had gone out of town. It was such that I would stay over. Typically, the best bet is to get a hotel and stay. So, I went to this hotel, do the normal checks you would do, then showed me the room. The toilet room, there was no light. I needed a bulb. I noticed that the lady was playing with me, or, not wanting to give me the bulb, or the manager is not around. From nobody to fix the bulb, and got to the point, I said, okay, don't worry, I'll fix it. It wasn't in my place to fix it, but I knew that if I go up, I may not find it convenient to come down again to disturb them. So let me just get everything before I go. From the manager was not around. Finally, the manager was around. Finally, there was a bulb there. Now, at that point, before the bulb was made available, if I had said, oh, this hotel has no lightings in their rooms, would I be wrong? No. Then the hotel on its part can say, oh, we have provisions for that, we have it stock. Would they be wrong? No. But they have it stock for what purpose? No, when you're not making it available for those, the end users that need it. So the same thing, you can claim that, oh, you have these consumables stocked. Are they available to these people on night shift at that time that needed it? Or you have it stocked somewhere? And I think the government, you see, these issues of emergency has always been a recurring issue in Nigeria, to the point that many people believe that one of the best things you can do for yourself is to try as much as possible not to get involved in an accident in Nigeria. Because if you do, there's hardly an emergency service. Even though when you walk into most maybe government hospital, you see the emergency and accident ward and all those things, they exist in theory. And that, you see, so you can say, oh, we have all these things. How available are they to those that because this is not the first time this is happening.
But isn't that why we have departments that are meant to be handling different sections of it?
Absolutely. And that, how often do they even, I mean, like I said, you may have these things stocked somewhere. How often do they make it available to the end users to say, okay, maybe devise a means of showing that, okay, you are a nurse on duty, you are likely, this is one of the things you need. How many of these things do you have? You know, like you said, departments at every point know that, okay, it's easily accessible for the end users to use, not by saying, oh, we have them readily available. But I think beyond what they say, and although I think these things call for a thorough investigation if the government is sincere on it. But I was just reading something just some few hours before I came. It also boils down on medical emergencies and all those things. How somebody alleged that the top medical professionals, the CMDs and the rest of them, they hobnose with politicians, and because they hobnose with politicians, they do everything to cover them up. So this may be one of those cases to say, oh, the government has provided us everything we need. In practice, they don't have it. And if the government is sincere, let an independent inquiry be set up to look into this case, because this is our federal capital territory. If a hospital, an FMC in Abuja can be this poor, what do you think of the FMC in a remote area like Ebonyi? Maybe not the whole of Ebonyi, but maybe at least far from the capital, Ebonyi, in a place like Sokoto, in a place even like Owerri.
Right.
What do you think of that general hospital in a local government? That means...
over time, there's been several arguments in several quarters as regards the fact that our health sector is a bit porous due to the fact that many people that can afford it actually take their treatments abroad. Now, that's on one hand. On the other hand, there's also been accusations and counter-accusations citing that certain private practices take out equipment from government establishments, which they in turn use in their private establishments. All right. We have talked about the fact that these equipments are readily available, even though they were not seen.
As alleged by the government.
As
I can
alleged.
vouch for that.
As alleged by the government. Now, when you put these two facts, these two observations by members of the public together, what do you think of this particular situation?
Well, let me correct an impression.
Okay.
The hospitals are not porous because those who can afford to go out, who can afford treatment outside, go outside. No, that's not the reason. Rather, those who can afford to go outside because the hospitals don't offer them the services. So
now, don't you think that action is simply because if you can afford something, would you want to make the one you have better? If you do not have access to leave,
who can afford it in quote, who have access to afford it, pay through their nose to at the risk of death and life, as out of frustration they leave. Now the people who make these decisions are those in position of authority, the politicians, the government, not the ordinary person who assess, like those accident victims taken to the hospital. Now at the end of the day nothing happens, they will be forced to go to a private practice, or if it was a more serious ailment and they are a little bit financially buoyant, out of the country, not because they can afford it or they want to, but because the system has failed them. We know how many persons have died because we know how many doctors are frustrated because they want their patients die over ailment they are very sure they can treat. But because like those nurses we talk in this viral video now, they probably can handle those accident victims, but they don't have the basic. So that nurse, that doctor would be frustrated watching those
imagine
people
that
going out.
All the people in government cannot travel abroad for checkups.
Yes, you see.
Do you think these systems will be built better for the ordinary man?
Yes. When you say the people in government, they are different from the person who can afford it. The person who can afford outside treatment could be you, could be any of us, But you're not going out because you can afford it. At times, it's your life saving you're using. At times, you have practically become a beggar because you have to save your life. So family, friends contribute money to take you outside. So to such a person, he's not going out because he can afford it. The time spent in trying to get visa, is enough to cause some damage to the health. But he's going out of frustration. So it is the government.
So are you saying that people in government go outside out of frustration?
No. The people in government are the ones who should fix this thing, who refuse to fix it. They are the ones that take pride in telling us they go abroad to treat something simple as, you know, have an ear.
They even go abroad for checkups.
Absolutely. So those are the ones we should hold responsible. Those are the ones we should hold accountable. Not that patient who left the system out of frustration. This reminds me, I think I've mentioned it here somewhere, either here or your sister's station. Back in the days, Ganifa Remi and his National Conscience Party, NCP, you know, one of their core mandates, which they're looking at, that if they had been voted into power, one of their manifesto, about the only party in this world republic that had a manifesto as at then. Well, one of the things they wanted to do is that they want to ban all public officials from going outside for medical treatment, from sending their students abroad. You know, if it is mandatory that if you're a local government chairman, for example, you must access healthcare within your local government, except where it has been proven beyond reasonable doubt that that level of treatment is not available at that level. If you're a state governor, let's have you treated in your state. Then you make an effort to provide these facilities there. You make an effort to build the school there. Then to the other questions, you see, providing equipment and some unscrupulous element within the system, take it to their private hospital. I will still blame the government, because you provide these things. Don't you have plans for audit? Every system audits itself. When you carry out audit, I provide this today, and maybe quarterly, monthly, whatever the audit plan is. When we come for the audit and I don't see this thing, what is the question we ask? When I hear that somebody needed this service and it wasn't available, what is the question we ask? So it still boils down to government, you know, the kind. And mind you, when we say, oh, they take these things out, it is not your ordinary doctor that will take that equipment out. It is those, you know, politically exposed doctors who think that nothing would happen to them, and truly, because nothing happens, it goes on and on. So we have a problem that our system needs to address. Our medical care, just like every other sector, is in critical need of action, and the action goes beyond budgetary allocation.
Right.
But implementation of such allocation and other measures, like we're talking about auditing the system. If not, we will continue to lose, or people will continue to have our medical personnel frustrated, and that frustration leads quite a number of them to leaving the country.
Right.
And the more they leave, the more trouble the system gets into.